Hello YouTubers, it's me, your gay guru, Michael Brewer, wandering through a river valley here in southern Switzerland in Ticino. As you can see, it's a beautiful, beautiful day out. Even though it is February, it's not very cold, and I'm really enjoying the sunshine, me and Lily Rascal. Today, I want to talk about something that's been on my mind. It seems to be a common thread running through a lot of the feedback I'm receiving to my videos, and I think it's time to talk about the big N-word. No. No, 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 no. We've been talking about war. We've been talking about discrimination. We've been talking about all kinds of things that are pushing against our happiness, things that are against our happiness, saying no. I mean, in this world, if you really look around, there does seem to be a lot of injustice. I mean, people are discriminated against, killed, imprisoned, and we've all been taught to stand up for the truth and to fight the good fight and to say no. I mean, Reagan said, just say no. Well, new paradigm says that the universe doesn't understand no. The universe only understands yes. And so, if we say no to something, we actually are attracting it to ourselves. Good case in point. Look at the war on terrorism. I mean, we've got a war on drugs, a war on teenage pregnancy, a war on terrorism. And all of these wars have, in fact, only propagated and furthered the very things that we're pushing against. I like the analogy of the tar baby from Uncle Remus's Tales, Brother Rabbit. And that is, the Brother Rabbit was walking down the road, and he heard a little voice calling him in the bushes. And it was a tar baby, and that means a baby made of tar. And the tar baby said, "Hey, what are you doing there?" He called him some kind of insulting thing. I don't know exactly the details. But and Brother Rabbit said, "Hey, you can't call me that." And the more he pushed against it, the more he got stuck to the tar baby. And in the end, he was just totally wrapped around this tar baby and caught in the morass. And that's the way it is with anything we say no to. If you say no to something and push against it and emphasize and focus on what you don't want, you in fact will bring that into your life. And the best case in point I can think of in recent years is President Bush's war on terror. After 9/11, we reached sort of a point where we could have gone either way in American history, that is. We could have looked at maybe what was the reason why any group would hate the American people so much that they would bomb the World Trade Centers. I mean, that would have been one way to approach it and say, hey, what is it? Maybe there's some kind of injustice in the world that we could look at. Maybe there's something positive we can take out of this. But instead, in typical cowboy fashion, Bush said, I'm going to make a war on terror. And that's what he did. And look where that's gotten us now. There's two wars being fought on two fronts, Afghanistan and Iraq. And neither of them show any sign of victory whatsoever, maybe some slight progress, but both places have been tremendously destabilized, so that only the fanatics have come into power. Rights to women and rights to gay people and other minorities have just been completely trampled on. Ethnic cleansing has taken place on a massive, massive, massive scale. Like nothing that was done anything. In fact, I would venture to say, and I'll probably be hammered for this, that both countries are worse off for what has been done in the so-called war on terror. And in fact, the war on terror has created so much terror that it itself, and I would say that the Bush government is the greatest terrorist that there's ever been, and have created more terror than there's ever were before. And so, the helicopters are buzzing me as I'm doing this. I hope they're not listening. They're going to come pick me up. Anyway, so it's a case in point that is if you push against something, you say no to it so strongly, you actually attract more of it. And I have to say that after 9/11 and all that's been done in the war on terrorism, the world is not a safer place. In fact, it's a terror-filled place. Ever try to travel on an airplane these days, you'll know what I mean. Freedoms in America have been limited and cut back. It's just a horrible thing, and I think it's been completely mishandled, and it's because they focused on what they didn't want and pushed against it and got stuck to the tar baby, and now it's hard to tell who is the terrorist and who is defending against the terrorist. If you ask people on the ground in Iraq, they would say the Americans are the terrorists. So it's a good example. But not to leave it there, let's talk about, well, how do you? I mean, there are injustices in the world, or anyone who's raised a child knows that there's got to be sometimes a no. And how do you balance out warding off what you don't want and getting what you do want? And I think you really have to think about this and focus more on what it is you do want. Okay, after 9/11, what did we want? Well, we wanted these people to stop bombing us. We wanted to be happy. We wanted to be safe. We want our safety back. Wouldn't it be nice to fly on an airplane again with all this rigorous security checks? How would that be done? Well, maybe one way would be to focus on the causes of what led to such an attack, or in your case of a child, what leads to the negative behavior that we don't want, and to focus on changing that. Well, one reason in the terrorist world would be the absolute disparity in material well-being of most people in the third world and the people in the Western world. Maybe if we'd focus on helping to build them up, they wouldn't be growing opium poppies, and they wouldn't be making bombs. And it's only people that are absolutely desperate, that are willing to blow themselves up because that feels better than what they had before. And so I think if we worked together and looked at the root causes of what leads to this type of absolute extremist behavior, and focus on doing something positive, that maybe we could ward off a lot of this stuff. And that's the same with the kids. I mean, how many of you parents are there focused on saying no to your kids all the time? And how rarely do we actually reward the positive behavior? And how often do we even say what it is we really want? We're real good at saying what we don't want, but do we really say what we do want? And do we reward our kids and point them in that direction? And that's the same with ourselves. Do you ever try quit smoking? I mean, if it was a no, or quit eating, or quit being so lazy. I mean, it's whenever you focus on the no, you end up getting more. So the answer to all of this is to place your focus on what you do want, in the direction you are going, and where it is you want to be, and not just on the negative. And the reason behind all this is that the universe does give us what we want. And if we say no, well, we get that. And if we say yes, well, we get that too. And so you might as well focus on what you want. Because if you focus and keep pushing against what you don't want, you can be sure to get more of it. So, saying yes from the lovely valley here in Ticino, southern Switzerland, Jirgay Guru, Michael Brewer, signing off. I'm one man and only one dog right now, because Buster's not here.